Hello, good afternoon. So as promised, I am here doing my go live a bit early today since I'll be working tonight doing readings at the Grand Slam from 5 to 9. So we're going to continue on our Fool's Journey. So last night we talked all about the Hanged Man and how basically it was following the Justice card after the Fool had to answer for the consequences of the choices that he's made on his journey so far. And again, this is sex neutral. It could be male or female. I just generally say he as I'm conversing about the Fool. So with this, the Hanged Man, he had to pause and basically determine what has served him well on his journey and what has not, abandoning what has not, and adopting a different perspective in order to be able to continue on his journey and to reconnect and essentially recharge his batteries, because there's no way with the remainder of the journey he would be able to make it through. So it makes sense that following the Hanged Man, which was the 12th card of the Major Arcana, now we're immediately progressing into the 13th card, which is Death, which, like I told you guys last night, Death is actually one of my favorite cards. And as we delve into Death, I will tell you why. So I'm going to hold up the card, and this is the classic Rider-Waite-Smith. Just such beautiful imagery. And I would encourage you, as you look at the card, to take in the body position of people. What are you seeing around these figures? What's in the background? How does it make you feel? What do the colors make you feel? When you look at the various colors, what words come up in your mind? What feelings do you feel? So we're going to start off with our symbols on the card. And bear with me, because like I've told you guys, this is like a mirror image looking into the phone. So I'll go ahead and adjust my phone a little bit. So this is the Roman numeral for 13. Okay, so 13 stands for transformation. And I know generally speaking, 13 is seen as an unlucky number, but for me, it's a lucky number. I actually like the number 13. I also like the number 3. So like for me, I'm like into odd numbers. And so here we're seeing the Grim Reaper, which he's generally depicted with the robe and the sickle. But in here, in this picture, he's atop this white horse. And again, pay attention to color. White stands for purity. So with death, essentially, living things come clean. They break down and become something else. They recontribute toward growth of other things. So again, we've got forward movement. Let's see, let's take in more about him. So here on top of his helmet, there is a red feather, which stands for power. So the Grim Reaper, we're all born, and then we will eventually all die, all of us. It doesn't matter. And all around him, you can see there's a man of the church. So there's a pope. Let's see here. There's a child. I know we don't like to think upon this, but there's a child. And then there appears to be a female of sorts. And already death is trampled down on this one gentleman here who was a king. And then this lady would be representative of, say, a peasant. So this reflects how death does not discriminate between the young and the old, the rich and the poor. Death comes for us all. And I'm going to get into what death means. It's not quite what you're thinking it is, but it isn't. So let's see here, to delve more into the symbols here. So we have this flag, which is more of like an announcement, like he is coming, he is here. So the white stands for purity and beauty, and the black stands for power, strength, authority. It also stands for a finality, like this is it. This is the end. It is a death. It's transformation. So let's see here what all we've got going on here. Uh, so armor. So I researched this and I was wondering, because death happens to all of us and all living things, why would this entity even need to wear armor? And the answer is it's symbolic to show that death is inevitable and it cannot be defeated. It's something that we all must experience in life. So in the background, there is water. So if you look, because I'm always telling you guys to look in the background, there is a body of water, and there's also like a little boat, and it's got a forward trajectory. And if you look on the hillside here, you see the two towers, which we haven't delved into that card yet, but we will. It's very much similar to, say, the moon, how we will have these, say, two towers in the background. And then behind that, it looks like we've got civilization, and we've got the sun, which, as per our previous go lives, we know that the sun stands for illumination, brightness, clarity, warmth. So it's a good thing, right? So let's see here. Now on the ground, instead of the ground being a brown or a green coloration, we have a yellow coloration to it. So I think that it's like, it would be very symbolic to say how yellow's been utilized throughout the various pictures we've reviewed so far. For something as painful as this transition of death, there is an illumination that takes place, seeing things for what they are. And I think for many, as they progress into various types of death, which we're about to go into, there is a lot of illumination and foresight and understanding that comes with these transitions. Basically, what did not serve us in the past, like our fool was thinking about last night with the hanged man, he abandoned it. And then the things that served him well on his journey for himself and others, he's kept those. And he's going to keep working on these various things on his journey because they've served him well, so he's going to keep those. So with that, when we see that yellow ground, we are seeing that clarity and that understanding. Things have come full circle at this point because death has come for these people in the picture, and there is no defeating him. And then as far as the sky, they really didn't do a whole lot in this picture. It's just simply white. And I mean, when I look at it, it's like overwhelming, like as far as like death takes up most of the picture as far as the Grim Reaper, but then the people that surround him, they have no choice but to accept that death is here and it has come for them. But also it represents how life goes on in the background. The civilization, the sun, these things will continue to exist and life will go on. So to bust a myth, okay, when this card is pulled in a tarot card pull, it does not always stand for death. Now, sometimes, sure, it can symbolize that someone is about to pass. However, that's not common. It's more so significant to basically symbolize the death of various things. So it could be a job that you're leaving because it does not serve the needs of you and your family, and you know it doesn't. And so you make the choice to put in your notice and leave that job. It could be a relationship where someone loves somebody very dearly, but if that person's not good to them and does not reciprocate, as painful as that may be, they may cut ties because it cannot continue. This could also be kind of touching back on careers. It could be somebody losing a job. However, in these examples, as painful as these transitions are, these deaths of what we were, the position we held, the relationship we had with someone, it leaves room for healing and growth and forward movement, progression into something better. And we evolve as humans because we recognize what did not serve us. And it's that learning curve. And then we know going forward, we're not going to work in a certain career again. Or if such an individual displays certain behaviors, you wouldn't date them again, or heaven forbid, be married to that person, which is a bigger commitment. You're going to do what's best for you. So when you think about that, because that is the one constant we have in life is change. We're always having to change, just like the snake sheds its skin. We're always evolving and changing, shedding the old skin and growing into a new skin. And it's learning to be comfortable with change. Many people are not. And this is very appropriate for our journey because our Fool in the previous card is a hangman, determined. I'm going to let these things go because they no longer serve me. And as painful as what it was to think upon the things that did not pan out on his journey, things he could have done different, that could have benefited himself and other people, you cannot change the past. However, we are very much in the present to where we can choose and make better decisions moving forward into the future. So I'm going to look at my notes to make sure that I covered everything with the card because there's so much meaning to it. Let's see here. I'm looking. I'll hold this card up while I'm looking. So basically, and I think I've alluded to this, every ending is a new beginning. So it's the closing of one chapter in the book that is your life, and it's a new chapter that's opening up, which I really like that, There really is no true permanence with anything in life. We're not guaranteed or owed anything in life. Let's see here. And then with the Pope that's being in here facing death, that is more so symbolic of spiritual guidance. So that's why it could be like if someone's about to pass, this is somebody that's going to say the last rites, depending on their religion, say a prayer for them and console them in their final hours before they transition from this little blink, which is our lives as we know it, to transition into a greater existence. And there's different ways of looking at that between Buddhism, you name it, all the various religions. And again, I'm not going to delve into that because it's way too complex for this group. And plus, I like to be respectful. I'm very open-minded. Again, if it doesn't hurt that person or other people, whatever religion they believe is perfectly fine because we're all trying to figure out source, which is the higher being. It is something much bigger than us that we can't even wrap our mind around it. So I actually have covered everything I wanted to cover as far as discussing this. And now we will move into our other cards so that you can kind of see them. Now I love this card I'm about to hold up here. So this shows the crone. This is an older lady, and you can tell by the wear on her little face. She's got all these wrinkles, and her hair is just swirling around her. So it's like the winds of change. And then there's like this robe, and this is like her body. It's like this tree. So she started off when she was planted as that little baby, and she grew up and evolved from the maiden to a mother role, whatever, form that took, to crone. So she's at the end of her life. And it's showing all that beauty, all that light within her, and all these little roots. But it is her time to go on this earth. Her work is done on this earth. So it's showing the transition. And to me, this is symbolic about when we die, we go back to dirt, to dust. And this could also be seen like her death feeds new life as well. So I think that's a beautiful thing. Again, everything is coming full circle on this card. And in the background, it looks like it's a bit mountainous, A bit of shadowing was utilized on the ground. So that reflects all of the obstacles and tribulations that our little crone has went through. Our little old lady has brought her to where she is, and she's at peace with it. You know, like if you look at her hands, like she's got the left one that's open, and then the right one, it's almost like she's holding her garment, which could symbolize how it's kind of scary to transition and let go, because again, change isn't comfortable. And it's impossible for any of us to truly wrap our minds around us no longer existing anymore. But again, it's rarely someone's actual death. This also symbolizes how we feel bound to our certain patterns of doing things, ways of doing things, and change is just not comfortable. And it's downright scary to change things up. So I think that's why we're seeing her hang on to her garment here, but also be open to death, because again, there's no escaping it. It's just a part of life. Okay, and then on this card, we have our little crow who passed away, which is symbolized by this little skeleton here. And then here, it transforms and it basically evolves into something else. So its little spirit went on to another universe, like it, you know, when you think about it from that viewpoint. And the colors are very pretty. So we've got around our crow, we have that enlightenment, that warmth and clarity, that yellow color surrounding it. And the blue, it looks like water. So again, that signifies emotion. So even though this is a very emotional transition, and then a bit of, looks like little snowy trees. So the wintertime is the death of things. Things go into a sleeping way of being. It's hibernation. This is a death. So it's not advancing. This life is not continuing to advance. It's at the end of a cycle. But again, there's a beauty in it because you see the flowers around that and that really big, pretty, deep red color. It's powerful, this transition. And again, I know here I am going on about death, but again, it's very rarely about somebody passing, guys. I promise. That's just, unfortunately, one of the stigmas around this card. Okay, here's another one. And it's got the traditional reaper. Instead of the black robe, he's wearing red, again signifying that death is a powerful thing, okay? And within, you don't see that skeletal face. You see trees, and you see the sun and a blue sky. So there we go. There's our sun again. We've got the clarity, illumination, warmth. That's what happens with death. And then we see the sickle here, which is very symbolic. And then we have yellow, and then we've got a bit of red, and then we've got green. Okay. There's new growth to come with changes. So green stands for growth. And then ending things, I have this one, which is, it's better than the Hangman from last night from this deck. I like this card. So this shows a hawk. And it looks like, I mean, when you think of a skull, you think of death. So there's a skull, and the little bird, the mama bird, made her nest here to where there's a baby there, but not all the eggs hatched. And this guy doesn't care that it's a baby. It's hungry, it's predatory. It will more than likely, it's about to eat this little baby bird. And it doesn't discriminate. It's hungry, it's prey, and it's accessible, and he is stronger than that little baby, just like death is. And that little baby, I know, it's just depressing, but it's just nature. It will probably die at the hands of this guy. So yeah, it just shows him looking down. He's got that black coloration going, the ruffled feathers. More of a tan color was used for this. So yeah, so that basically sums up death. But to me, I love it so much because in my life, I have gotten quite used to, from a young age, change. It's the one thing I know I can count on. It's the one thing I know that I can adapt to. And no matter what I end up transitioning to, I know I'm going to persevere in it because I work hard. So to me, it's a solace to me. I come to expect it. I don't fight it. So that's why I think like I've been comfortable in my life transitioning into different jobs, trying different things, not being afraid of failure. It is painful. Change still hurts though. It hurts to let go of ways of doing things and ways of thinking that you're just so accustomed to. But then if you really take the time to reflect, you come to the realization these things are holding you back. They can hurt you internally. They can hurt the people around you, depending on what form they take. And it really, to me, which is a different matter to itself, would be like shadow work. It's looking at these negative perceptions we hold of ourselves that impact our way of thinking. At times people verbalize them. They become a very real thing. And they do harm to ourselves and other people. So it's really important to be self-aware and to really think about the things that we want to move past and grow past them and not carry them, not to carry the hurt, but to let it go. That's why forgiveness is such a powerful thing. But anyhow, that is the death card in a nutshell. And I think that will sum it up for today. And then I will be on tomorrow, probably around 8 p.m. to do our next card. And I think that sums it up. So if you're free tonight, come visit me and say hi. I'd love to see you in person. And I hope you all have a good evening. Bye.